all here, with this fine award. Although I stepped back from active participation in the program when I moved to Mystic a few years ago, I still and always will treasure my memories of the children's pure joy when they learned new skills, picked out their fabrics and colors, and completed a sewing project that was all their own. Thank you.
I want to say thank you to Sandy and Alice. Congratulations to the Sewing Sisters, who have such a great example of giving back to all of us. So one more round of applause for them. Who's going to take the award? Who wants it? I was going to say, I'll take it. Yes, let everybody take a picture with it. There we go. I meant it. Would you ladies judge, I'm asking for a friend, a woman in her mid-30s that doesn't know how to put on a button. I'm just wondering if that's a thing you would judge. Like if there was a rip directly on the seam and she still didn't know how to fix that, would you judge her? And we would love more volunteers to the Sewing Sisters. Obviously, it won't be me. But I am great at handing out thimbles or anything else you might, ladies, would need. Thank you so much to the Sewing Sisters. We appreciate you. I was like, is someone going to take the award? Because I will. I never win anything. So before we introduce our very inspirational keynote speaker, and it's great because I've been gifted with like plenty of fantastic words to say about her, but luckily I was able to talk with Ivy before the program started, and she is a phenomenal woman for so many reasons, and she'll tell you, and you'll gather all that when she starts speaking, but her message is so incredibly important because I myself have dealt with mental health, mental illness in my own family. I'm a huge advocate and proponent for it. It's a very ugly elephant in the room for some reason that people don't want to talk about. Meanwhile, it's prevalent among young people, among old people, among middle-aged people. I said to Ivy, a lot of times I get, you look like you've got it all together. And I'm like, on some days I do. And on some days I am totally and completely helpless and falling apart. And I think that Ivy's message should not only resonate with the young girls, that there is no shame or embarrassment in admitting that you need help and that you struggle, but also a message to all of you as well. And that as much as we spend working on our fitness and our waist sizes and our hair and our nails and making sure that the physical appearance is good, this is the most important thing. Stretching this muscle, training this muscle, and making sure that we understand that dealing with mental health is an ongoing and life-going process. It never stops, it never ends. And if we teach our young girls at this age that it's okay to talk about their struggles, then I think that hopefully we will start to take away a little bit of that taboo talk, because it certainly is not that. So I would love for you right now to give a raucous round of applause to our keynote speaker, Miss Ivy Watts.
Good afternoon, everybody. How's everyone doing? Good, great. I'm so honored to be here today as your keynote speaker. Today I'm going to spend some time talking with all of you about self-love and mental wellness, something I knew nothing about for most of my life. See, I was the girl who looked like I had it all together, the girl who looked like she had everything going for her. I was that stellar student and that stellar athlete. I went to University of New Haven, right here in this state, and I graduated summa cum laude. I had a 3.97 GPA. I ran track my entire life, and when I left University of New Haven, I was named Woman of the Year for my conference, Northeast 10 Conference, and I was a top 30 finalist for the NCAA Woman of the Year Award. But thank you. But even though on the outside it looked like I had it all together, beneath this perfect mask that I had created for myself, I was struggling with pain and self-hate, because I felt like I was always falling short of what my true idea of perfection was. I felt like I was really confused because I didn't know who Ivy was, because my entire identity centered around me being a track athlete. I struggled with anxiety and depression for most of my life that went untreated. And because it went untreated, it turned into suicidal thoughts and allowing myself to stay in this really toxic and emotionally abusive relationship that I thought that I deserved. And so I stayed in this relationship, and I couldn't let the world see me as anything other than perfect. And I couldn't be judged. I couldn't be labeled with the terms that people with mental health problems are so easily labeled with because of that stigma. And so instead, I struggled in silence. And I was that girl who thought that my struggle was just going to be what my life was, that I was always going to be in this really dark space, and that I was never going to know what happiness looked like, and that I was always going to struggle alone. But it wasn't until I decided that I wanted more for my life that I started to think about what my mental health recovery journey could look like. Recovery for me looked like walking away from 2 toxic relationships in the same day. It looked like walking away from a toxic relationship with somebody else, and then walking away from a toxic relationship with myself. Because even though this was the most difficult thing I ever did for myself, and I was so comfortable being surrounded by this negativity, it was one of the best things I ever did for myself, and finally allowed me to begin to heal. Recovery for me looks like starting therapy and finally recognizing that I had a voice and that I could use my voice to work through my struggle. And recovery for me looked like practicing positive affirmations, telling myself I was beautiful even when I didn't believe it. And even though it didn't happen overnight, after doing this work and going to therapy and having my support system and telling myself I was worthy and capable, for the first time in my life, I felt beautiful. For the first time in my life, I was able to nurture my mental health. And for the first time in my life, I was able to learn to love myself exactly as I am, despite all of my flaws. And now I've made it my life's work to share my story with students and teachers and parents and coaches to help to break the stigma around mental health problems and encourage people to get help. So I finally found self-love. But I think about what my life would have been like had I been part of a program like Smart Girls. Had I known early on that it was okay to not be okay, that it was okay to be exactly who Ivy was, and that it was okay to struggle, but that I had a support system around me to get me through that struggle. And that's why programs like Smart Girls are so important, because we have these mentors in our lives. And I realized that through therapy and my support system, that we have these mentors in our lives, like the Boys and Girls Club, that help us through that struggle and put us on the right path. And so this program is so important because it's an opportunity of girls with those mentors to recognize that they can be exactly who they are, and that who they are is more than good enough. And see, we spend our whole lives looking for something better, when what we need has been within us all along. Self-love is important because it means walking into a room like we're in here today and knowing that you're meant to be here. Self-love is important because it means forgiving yourself when you mess up. Self-love is important because it means knowing that you will not be perfect, but that your imperfections are the best part of you, and that being who you are is your superpower. Self-love is important because it means choosing you over and over, even when it's confusing and messy, and knowing that you're going to go through this process, but if you have a positive mindset and a grateful heart, that this storm will pass and the sun will come out. And see, I've gotten to this point where I've learned to love myself, but I won't lie, I'll be honest with all of you, I still have days when I struggle and I don't really feel like loving myself. But that's okay. We have to be able to give ourselves the same compassion that we so easily give to others. And in a world, in a society where we're so often told to change who we are and that who we are isn't good enough, it is truly a beautiful act of rebellion to stand in the face of society and say, this is me. I may not be who you want me to be, but I choose to be me, and I choose to be the best version of me every single day. And to me, that is enough. So I encourage all of you to be you. Be happy, be silly, be shy, be funny, laugh, cry, dance, whatever it looks like to be you. I encourage you to do that because the world needs more of your beautiful shine. Use your voice to tell your story, even if society has told you that what you're going through you shouldn't talk about. I have realized time and time again that society has it all wrong. Your voice has power, your story has power, and you can use that to work through what you are going through, knowing that you are never alone in your journey. And as I end my time with you this afternoon, I want to encourage all of you to start to begin to practice self-love right here in this moment, because self-love truly helped to change my life. And even though it's a process, we can start right here in this moment knowing that we are empowered and we have the tools within us to work through whatever we might be going through. And so I like to end all of my presentations that I do with students and parents and teachers with positive affirmations, because we truly act consistent with who we think we are. When we tell ourselves negative things, we not only act more negatively, but we attract more negative people to us. When we tell ourselves positive things, we act more positively, and then we attract more positive people and situations and opportunities to us. And that is so incredibly powerful. And right here in this moment, we can have self-love and mental wellness all surrounded around us. We can leave this room feeling empowered to start our journeys right now. And so if you guys are up for it, will you repeat some positive affirmations after me? Okay, perfect. So I'll go and then you guys will say it after me. So it's, I am worthy. I am capable. I am good enough. So I think we can get a whole lot louder than that, because there is so much power in these statements. So you can say this to yourself before a big game, before a big test. All of the smart girls in here, you guys can do this before a conversation that you're anxious about, presenting a speech in front of hundreds of people. You can have these statements in everything that you do, and it's so powerful to start right now. So let's try to get a whole lot louder, okay? I am worthy. I am capable. I am good enough. I hope that you all leave here today empowered to practice self-love. I know I'm leaving here empowered because even if just one of you begins to practice self-love in this moment, and then you begin to share the beauty of self-love with somebody else, well, then it becomes like a domino effect. And then together, we can change the world. I want to congratulate all of the smart girls here with us today. You guys are all rock stars. And I appreciate each and every single one of you, and thank you all for supporting this amazing program that's helping to nurture the girls of our future. Thank you guys so much.